What's going on, YouTube world? Welcome back to Little Bit Man Gaming, bringing you another WandaVision review. This time for episode 4 of WandaVision. We interrupt this program. Now, that's the name of the title. We interrupt this program. But before we get into that, as I said in my last two videos, if you could hit that like, subscribe, and share the notification button, I greatly appreciate it. I will have a review for Batwoman. It was so much I had to do. I had to watch I had to watch the Royal Rumble. I had to do these videos, but I will have. That would be the. That's like, I think that would be the one of the last videos I do tonight, which would be for Batwoman. But with that, but like I said, you hit that like, subscribe, and share, and the notification button. I greatly appreciate it. Leave a comment too. All that great stuff helps the channel grow, helps me grow as a YouTuber, and we need to get to 100 subscribers. And those who are not subscribed, subscribe. What are you waiting for? Take your thumb on your phone, your finger, whatever. Hit that subscribe. Take your finger, thumb, hit the subscribe button. If you're on your computer, take that mouse and click it. Just hit that subscribe button. Hit the likes. Do all that because YouTube needs to know y'all like these videos, so other people could like these videos, so the world could see my greatness. But with that being said, I don't like the cat. Yeah, there we go. With that being said, let's get into it. Yeah, so the 4th episode of WandaVision was that episode. That was the episode that WandaVision needed to catapult it into the right direction. Now I'm super. First I was just curious. First I was just like, First I was just like, I don't really like the little 60, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s comedy shows and all that. Oh, I get it. Something weird's going on, so I'm invested. But now they finally went, okay, now we gave you the one side that make you go, oh, it's a little cheesiness and stuff. Now let's give you the side that's going to make you want to know what's really going on here. And like I always do, these WandaVisions is not spoiling, but I will tell you, I'm not going to spoil anything. But this episode is now, instead of told from Wanda's and Vision's perspective in the show, this is told from the outside. As you see in the last episode, there's government agents surrounding Westview, like how they did Thor's hammer in the first Thor movie. The FBI and Sword, they all came together to form this perimeter, because for some reason they figured out that it's a 5-mile radius, that anybody within 5 miles of Westview, for some reason, if outside of Westview, they don't even remember that Westview, New Jersey even exists. They say they from Eastview, and Eastview is not even a thing in New Jersey. It's only Westview. But if it's a 5-mile radius, for some reason people don't remember Westview. And then the people trapped inside Westview, they think they are in this sitcom world. And it's shown that if you, whatever goes into the dome, into this little perimeter, it's like a force field, like a staticky, like, remember those old TV shows back in the 90s and 80s and stuff like that, the old TVs from that era, the 90s and the 80s, and the 70s TVs, it got that like static, because Wanda's power comes from the Big Bang itself, because that's what created the Infinity Stones. And the Big Bang has like this certain radiation to it. And it says Wanda's powers comes from the Infinity Stone, which in particular I think it was, what was it, the Mind Stone? Yeah. Yeah, the stone that ended up going into Vision's head was the stone that gave her powers. And since these stones got the radiation of the Big Bang, we see Darcy from Thor. She ends up picking up on that radiation, and then she picks up on the TV, the radiation the old TVs give off their signals and the radiation from that. Just so she realized that it was some type of signal coming out of there, and she realized it was a TV signal, and she told them like, look, I need an old TV, get me one of those old TVs, and they pick up the system, and they can see that Wanda, the FBI agent, we got who was it? Danny Wu, I want to say. Jimmy Woo. Okay, that's what his name was. Jimmy Woo. Jimmy Woo, the FBI agent from Ant-Man. I think he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, it was the one where Ant-Man was on house arrest, so that was Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he finally learned Scott's hand, that little trick he did with the hand where the car is not there, then he just make the car materialize in his hand. You go, he's like, oh yeah, the car is not here. Then he just go, there you go. He finally learned that trick. It was a nice little callback to Ant-Man and the Wasp. He finally learned the trick, and but yeah, they tell Monica's character, Monica Rambeau, which we find out she's the daughter. Monica Rambeau, the black lady that they've been showing throughout WandaVision, is actually the daughter, the little girl from Captain Marvel, the Captain Marvel's best friend, Maria. That's her name. Maria from Captain Marvel's daughter is all grown up, and we find out what ended up happening to her mother. Her mother is dead, but not because of Thanos. She died. I think she died of cancer. Yeah, I think she died of cancer. But we found out though, Thanos did have something to do with why Monica doesn't know why she died. It's a callback to Infinity War, and we get to see what everybody's describing, I would say, to the dark side of the snap and the blip. That's what they call it. The blip is what they call it with when Hulk, snapped and everybody came back. They calling that the blip, where everybody who got snapped away blip back. And we get to see if you remember how it looked in Far From Home, where people came back, how they would just like shoo, and they would just reappear. It was like but when people got snapped away, they like dematerialized and turned into like dust. They were like slowly dematerializing. But in Spider-Man, they just popped back into existence. Like they didn't rematerialize how they dematerialized. They just popped back into existence. But in WandaVision, we get to see them the way I thought they would come back, is that we saw people this time the same way how when Thanos snapped his finger and how everybody disappeared and just turned to dust. That's the same way they came back. But we saw the dark side of it, and what I mean by the dark side of it is put it like this, just not to spoil anything. But I'll put it like this. I think I did spoil what happened to Maria, but I won't spoil you how she finds that out. But I'll put it to you like this: what would you think would happen if you would Thanos snapped you out of existence, and then you would snap back into existence, but instead for you thought you were just like, oh man, I probably just fell asleep, but it's 5 years later. Like I put it to the example. This is the best example I can put it to. This is what they actually did in the episode. Say I'm doing this video, right? Thanos is real, and the Avengers are real. They fight in the losing battle in Wakanda. Thanos snaps his fingers. Everybody disappears. Say I'm one of the people that disappears, right? I disappear right before y'all. I'm making this video. Somebody just uploads this video, right? And in this video, you see me I just dematerialize. I'm talking to y'all, then I get weak, dematerialized. That don't snap me out of existence. And then, say somebody still had the camera rolling, somebody found my camera and was was making their own video right now, right? And Hawk brought everybody back 5 years later. Boom! I rematerialized, still in this house, still in here, but it's somebody else making their own YouTube video about whatever, right? Maybe about about how they lost people in the snap, and all of a sudden they just see me like what the, who are you? What are you doing here? I'm just like, what are you doing here? This is my house. I fell asleep. Why you in my house? And what are you doing with my furniture? You know, and then they like, your house. Nobody's been, the people who used to live here haven't lived here in 5 years. I'm like, 5 years? What? No, I just fell asleep. I fell asleep doing my video like 20 minutes ago. Like, no, it's not been 20 minutes. It's been 5 years. And that's what they do in WandaVision. People come. They got people. They showing you when I say the dark side, they showing you how when Hulk snapped people back, they didn't snap to where their people who are alive or who didn't get snapped away are at the current moment. They got snapped back to where they were the 5 years prior when Thanos snapped them away and they brought them back. They reappear right when they got snapped away. And we see in the hospital is chaos. It's chaos and destruction because people are being brought back. So many people are terminally ill. So many people could have been murderers or rapists. But the thing is, we don't know. We don't know how dark this could get, but we see that at least one part of it was panic and chaos. People are reappearing in the hospital where they were 5 years ago, but the people they was with, like one scene showed like a dude, he just reappeared in this random girl's hospital room. He probably was in there looking for the person. He probably tried to figure out why this random woman is in this hospital room where his wife or his daughter or whoever, his father, whoever was in this room is not there anymore. And he doesn't realize because that was 5 years ago when you disappeared. And we find out that I already spoiled who died of cancer. So that means there's only one person who I've still been talking about is the other person who actually got snapped away by Thanos. But when Maria knew that she would return. But yeah, we know. But thanks to my spoiling of what happened to Maria, Captain Marvel's friend, you know who got snapped away. And if you watch the episode, you'll figure out who was the person looking for their family member at the hospital, trying to figure out why that person was no longer there. And that's just how the episode starts out. Like the start of this part of the episode 4 takes place during Avengers Endgame, right when a few minutes after the Hulk, I think, like right when I want to say it took place right after the Hulk snapped his fingers. I think while he was on the ground, it was like, you did it, and Ant-Man was saying like all the birds and stuff come back. This part of WandaVision takes place during that moment, while they still fighting. While they getting ready to fight Thanos and stuff, people are returning, and it shows this chaos of how where Spider-Man Far From Home was the funny side of it. This is the dark side of it. This is what happens where people come back, but they don't got nobody to come back to, or they don't know where people at. Some people might be dead. Some people might be in the moved on. You could have had. What if you had a wife who thought you was dead? And you her husband, you thought, or vice versa, your wife is dead, you think she's dead, so you find in the 5 years you didn't moved on, got remarried, had the kids, and she comes back, she comes back, and she or your wife or your husband comes back, you be like, you cheating on me with this woman or this man, who what you doing? They're like, you be like, oh my God, honey, you're alive. What you? Yes, I'm alive. I went to sleep. What you mean? And like. no, it's been 5 years. I thought you were dead. That's they trying to tell you in WandaVision. That's the dark side of this. The people return, and what made this episode amazing was that whole just the beginning part. Before they even get to the situation with Wanda, it's the beginning parts of that. Just the beginning parts of this episode alone showed you that it made you really want to rewatch. I really want to rewatch Endgame just because now I know it wasn't all happy-go-lucky, feel-good moment. It really wasn't. Like, people coming, they showed you that it was a consequence. How they basically trying to tell you that, how everybody, when you're growing up, your parents tell you there's a consequence for everything. Or your parents tell you for every action there's a reaction, all that type of stuff, right? Basically, you do something, no matter if it's good with good intentions or not, there's a consequence to it, right? And this episode showed you that, yes, the Avenger, yes, Tony, Hawk, Captain America, all of them had good intentions. All of them wanted to undo the evil thing that Thanos did. But what happens when you do it and don't think about the consequence of doing it? You doing it. It shows that even in their success of bringing everybody back, it was kind of and some people it might be evil, or sometimes it might have been stupid because now you force the people to live a life now they can't. They got to restart over. Because some people, they loved ones they was having dinner with could be no longer alive now. They could be dead, died of some criminal could have killed them. They could have died of cancer like Maria did, or of anything. People just could have died, and now you get to see the horrific side of that. What happens when you come back and your loved ones are no longer there or missing, or you don't know where they are because you're still in the same spot that you were 5 years ago, but they could be on the other side of the earth now. It shows you that. And then we cut to 3 years later, which 3 years later, 3 weeks later. So the episode. So we know now that 3 weeks that this whole episode, the whole series takes place 3 weeks after Endgame. So we know that. So we still know that Wanda's in mourning over Vision, over losing her brother, because Vision is still fresh. Because it's only been 3 weeks since Endgame. It's only been 3 weeks since Endgame, and 5 years since Vision died. So it's still fresh. And the fact that they won and Vision didn't come back still because he wasn't killed by the snap. He was killed by Thanos. So therefore he couldn't. He was one of the people who couldn't come back when Hulk snapped his fingers. So yeah, they send. They figure. She finds out that she was supposed to be the acting. She was supposed to be the director for Sword. But until I think they gave it to a guy named Tyler Hayward, and he's the acting director for Sword, and they send Monica to help Jimmy investigate a Mr. Percy case in Westview, New Jersey. And it turns out the missing person case has something to do with what's going on with Wanda. While we watching Wanda and Vision in these 1950s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s TV show like sitcoms, is because the missing person might be actually stuck inside wherever this illusion that's been created, and they find out that they discovered there's a hexagonal static field surrounding the town, and it establishes that it answers a lot of questions that we had. It answers some questions that we had from the beginning, and give us more questions. It answers some, but it gives you some in return. So it's like they find out it's a hexagonal static TV like field surrounding Westview. They want to know why is it hexagonal, like why hexagonal, why the sitcoms, why this, why that. It's like a meta joke because the same questions we are asking they actually asked in the show, right? They actually asked in WandaVision, their actual FBI, Jimmy and them. They got this little whiteboard that they writing down like the stuff that we know and stuff that we don't know. And the stuff that we don't know is basically questions that we the people been asking, like on YouTube and stuff. People been asking these same questions that's actually they writing in the show, in the TV show. They ask, why Hexagon, why the '90s, why the '60s, why the sitcoms, and is Vision alive, all that type of stuff. So we get some answers to that type of stuff. We find out why. We found out what that toy helicopter that was in color that Wanda found, and that toy helicopter was really a drone that was sent in, but it turned into a toy helicopter, which reveals that anything that enters the dome becomes a part of that era, that whatever era they in, that wherever you go, either a person or thing you're seeing turns into that era. And we saw that the beekeeper dude was really a shore agent sent in to investigate, and he went through the sewers to try to get into Westview to find people, but they found out that the static field even goes underground, and when he went in, he went from having a hazmat suit on to a beekeeper suit, and that rope that was tethering him to the people outside so they could reel him back out, turned into a jump rope from that era. And Wanda ended up taking, I think it's implied that she ended up doing something to him, but it's not really known for sure. What else happened in the show? They found out that some of the people that's been the people that Wanda and them been meeting are actually people who live in Westview that's trapped in this dome. People who actually live there. They try to make contact with her. They try to make contact with her. We found out that was Jimmy, who was asking her through the radio, Wanda, who's doing this to you, Wanda. We found out that's Jimmy Woo. We found out that we found out that when Monica mentioned Ultron, we see the full scene of what happened with that and how she got kicked out of the Westview. And Monica at the end, she says that she's doing, she or he or somebody, she ends up telling you who's doing it, who's controlling it all, but it might be a red herring, and which means where a red herring is basically it's something to make you look one way, but you don't know that the real danger is coming up behind. So while I could be thinking, hey, this person right here, that's the person who's doing it, but really it was a red herring. That person is innocent. The real threat is coming up behind me to cut my head off. And it's because I fell for the red herring. While I think it's this person trying to kill me, it was really this person behind me the whole time trying to kill me. And I think that's what's going on. While the show is trying to make us think one person is doing it, I think it's really somebody else controlling that person they keep trying to make us think is doing it to do it. For some reason, one way or another, there is a jump scare. For some people, I know it's for some people. I don't know if they was acting on YouTube. It was a jump scare. It really was a jump scare for me, but it was like it made me go, "Holy shit!" Like is that how he looked the whole time? And you will see what I mean. But overall, I think I'm gonna give this episode 10 big ups because it was an overall great episode. I had no problem with the episode, no faults whatsoever. I love the episode, and I would love to see more episodes like this. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit the like, subscribe, share, and the notification button, and let me know. Leave a comment, let me know, because that lets me know you enjoy these videos and you want to see more. Till the next video, peace.